video. I have been diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, anxiety, and I've suffered on and off depression for the past 10 years. So today I really wanted to show you something that's kind of been fundamental in my drastic improvement in my symptoms in the last year, and I'm hoping it might give you guys some suggestions and ideas for your own recovery. And this is the year that I am so motivated that I am going to, by the end of this year, not meet the criteria for borderline. Yeah, I'm going for the big goals. So I will get started and show you guys. So I think the first thing you need to do is really choose a box that kind of aesthetically pleases you, and it needs to be somewhere where you're going to see it. So for me, this is my box. I love all these feather designs. I don't know how, yeah, there you can kind of see. And I actually just put it by my bedside table, so it's always within view and it's always easy access, which is so important. There's no point having a self-care box and then putting it on a top shelf and you're never going to think about it or see it again. Okay, so I've actually added quite a few things recently, like from Christmas, because they're kind of things that are just going to be like little treats, like if I'm just starting to go down with my mood. I can see how this isn't necessarily a good idea in some ways, because I guess it could encourage my impulsive behaviours. If I was concerned that I impulsively ate to an unhealthy level, then I wouldn't be putting food in here, and I would suggest that you don't put food in if you think that's one of your impulsive tendencies. I'm not going to overindulge, and I trust myself. So I've just got some Galaxy vegan chocolate orange chocolate. That does not you guys know what I mean. For me, a big thing is baths, and my husband knows how important they are for me, and I have them most nights because it's kind of like at the end of a long day of looking after the kids, and kind of the transition from being in mum mode to being in me mode. I need that bath to kind of reset my mind. But especially in a crisis, that is so important for me, and it really helps de-escalate. So I have some bath products. I'm Disney crazy, so I've got a bath bomb. Okay, so that's the only bath product I actually have in there at the moment. And usually I do have a lavender Yankee candle, but to be honest, I've used it all, so I need to go buy another one, and it would either live in here or it would just live in the bathroom, just for ease of not having to move around and stuff. Now, certain things, like, I consider this a crisis box, but actually it's also kind of the self-care preventative box, because evidently sitting down to do a jigsaw, I'm not going to do that during a crisis. But it does really help when I can see that I'm starting to get stressed, and I just kind of need to, if my mind's going everywhere, I need to regain and become more mindful and really just focus and shut out all the intrusive thoughts, because intrusive thoughts is something I really struggle with. So this was another stocking filler, I think. Yeah, this is gonna be fun. Hopefully that's not gonna like piss me off more than it's gonna help. But something that I absolutely love is puzzles like this. Even just sitting down and doing one of these at the end of the night, it just gives you that moment of where you're not on your screen. I guess it's just choosing each day what you want to do that's mindful. So of course you could just sit on a bench and look at trees and stuff every day, but something that just works for me that I can do at the end of the night is my puzzles. It also depends on how stressed I am as to whether I do a word search or this, because with a word search I know I'm gonna be able to complete it. I know eventually I will find that word, whereas this, I need to be slightly calmer, but it's still good for maintaining a good well-being. But this is more really makes me think, and I can get a little bit frustrated if I'm struggling. So it's not something to do if I'm already a little bit stressed to kind of calm down. That's when I need my word search, where it's just making me concentrate, whereas this, it's like actually trying to work stuff out. I don't have the mental capacity to really be doing that when I'm really already starting to go downhill. So I'm not usually a big makeup or cosmetics person per se. I know I put makeup on for this video, but usually I don't wear loads of makeup, and I definitely don't usually do things like nail polish, but I've kind of realised that actually it just makes me feel a little bit better to say that because one thing I personally struggle with being a mum is I feel like I'm always doing stuff for them, and so although to be honest nail polish annoys me because it just chips and I don't see the point, kind of just makes me feel good if I've just kind of sat down and done something nice for me, even if I do kind of think it's a little bit pointless. But my favourite colour is silver, and these are Barry M ones. I don't think the camera's focusing. Well, it's not going to now, is it? See them. But they're both vegan as well, which is obviously important to me. Textiles. It's just nice to have something to hold and stroke. I actually do have real cats and stuff that I could cuddle, but on the off chance that they don't want to play ball, I just find it helpful to have something to just kind of hold, and I don't know, it feels good and you can cuddle it, and yeah, it seems silly but actually it really works for me. His name is Wheaty, he's a Wheaten Terrier. I used to collect Keel toys and these are Keel toys. So it's kind of a homage and kind of reminds me of my childhood. Okay, I'll show you my notepad in a second and explain that. This, which a lot of people with borderline will know about because this is the main book that they use for therapy. I can't say that I've benefited from having this book really, but I like the fact that it's there just in case. I think this will be helpful in my future when I'm hoping, if I ever got to the point of not meeting the criteria for the diagnosis, if I ever started to struggle again and couldn't remember any of the techniques or anything, at least I know I've got it all here, and there's a good chance I can kind of bring myself back without having to then need to go back under mental health services. So I think it's really good to have all the knowledge that this is literally, this could be the thing that is going to save me. Like, this could be my recovery right in this book. That's crazy to think. By the end of this year I could just be a normal person, maybe, kind of, a little bit. So I've got some other books that I'll show you. I need to actually read them, it would help. There's actually one on my bedside table that I did start reading, so that is one of them. But yeah, I've heard really good things about this, so I need, because I've been on such a high recently, I haven't actually read this or finished reading it because I've just been so busy with YouTube, and to be honest I've just felt awesome. I haven't felt low, so I haven't needed a reason to live because I feel alive and I feel happy, and I'm happy to be alive, which is a big change from the suicide attempt that I had earlier in the year, so I think I'm doing pretty good. I have little books like this. I haven't actually read it. These are kind of things that at the moment I kind of aren't using because I just feel so good, but I know I have a tendency to go up and down a lot, which a lot of borderlines will probably relate to. So just in case, I do have all these sorts of books in here. So I have this one as well. It just feels like this is going to be one of the sort of books that's going to really work for me. Like, I don't like self-help books, but this speaks to my sort of personality. Actually, this one I really need to read. This one is probably the most important, especially with how my son is at the minute. He's like really going through a transitional period, and he's like 3.5, and because a new sibling came along he's been very unsettled, so this could probably work for us both. Stand Tall Like a Mountain, Mindfulness and Self-Care for Parents, for Children and Parents by Susie Redding. And I just think the fact that we can kind of work on our issues together, because I can see that he has picked up some of my behavioural traits which I really don't like. That freaks me out. Like, yeah, so I'm even more motivated for me to fix me, but also we can work on stuff together and learn, I guess, to not scream and shout as much. So yeah, and this is another thing that I have. It's just a fun little addition, but I really love it. It's one of these water games and you get the loops on, and my son keeps trying to get into my box and nick this, but it is mine. Unfortunately I seem to be better at this than I was hoping, so it does sometimes only take me about 1.5 minutes to do, but even that, 1.5 minutes can be the difference in a crisis, or not in a crisis, I'm not recommending doing this in a crisis, but in kind of when you're starting to go downhill, just that 1.5 minutes to stop and think makes a big difference. Especially for me, I just need that reality check, and so I need that like break in my thoughts, and it's these sort of things that are really helpful for me personally. And another really important thing that I have in here is my stop card. So that's, I'll do that like that so that you can really see, and maybe screenshot it if you don't have one of these cards. So yeah, this is just a really important one that I try and have at the top, because like I say, just the break in thoughts is enough to kind of then make me reevaluate the situation. So I need to practice the stop skill. That's a really important one that, to be honest, I need to like put it somewhere else so that I can really see this more often, because it's one that I think I need to work on more than anything in this next year, is really stopping and evaluating the situation before being impulsive. Impulsivity is one of my big symptoms, so it's definitely one to work on. So the next thing I have is a rescue remedy, and that's the nighttime one. Yeah, I use both the normal rescue remedy and the nighttime one. To be honest, I sometimes forget I have these, and then I wonder why I'm so stressed, and if I could just remember to use them, that would really help. And it's also really good because they're like herbal like that, and they're super safe, that you take it as often as you need. So it's something that I can help myself with in a crisis, out of a crisis, going into a crisis, but at the same time, most importantly, you can't overdose on it, which is really important for me. And the last thing I have in here, which is kind of, it's just a self-care thing, it's not gonna be appropriate in a crisis, but it is all my cables, my glove and my pen for my drawing tablet, which connects to my computer, and then I can draw on like Photoshop, on Paint and Illustrator, which I don't understand at all. But probably the most important thing I have in this is my notepad. And you might wonder why, because in theory, how is that going to help? But this is literally like this other book. It's kind of like this in a way, but it's personalised. In here, I have, in the last 6 months to a year, I have gone through like writing down every single thing that triggers me. I've wrote down, it's basically like a perfect guide for me, and it's perfect for my husband. Okay, so my camera's just been a bit funny, so I'll just quickly go through this with you guys. But yeah, I've got triggers, symptoms, I've put ideas for daily aims, so like breakfast, lunch, tea, an hour of screen free time, concentration task, mindfulness, etc. It's kind of planning my recovery basically. I've got a whole list of things I enjoy, because sometimes I forget, like in those moments when I'm so dark and depressed, and I just kind of need to pick one and do it, and then I'll realise that I enjoy it even if I don't feel like doing it at the time. I've put examples of how I can spend time with my husband as well, because relationships get affected significantly by borderline, so it's so important to keep building on those relationships and having healthy relationships. So I've got examples like playing battleships, badminton, talking, going for walks, date nights. And I've also dated kind of so that I can look back over my progress. Like on the 10th of August I put what my thoughts were about myself. So I've put bad luck, selfish, I'm stupid, which I've circled. So obviously at that time my core belief and thought was that I was stupid. Then I also did one that was thoughts about the future, and I put that my marriage is going to break down, risk of overdose once I stop breastfeeding. But I've also put some positive things, like I could be successful, I might turn my life around, whereas now I'm positive, I'm going to turn my life around, and I am going to be successful. So I probably need to update this and write kind of the good things as well, but because I've been so focused on feeling positive, I haven't thought about it. I've also got a playlist. Sometimes I find it really helpful for music. Usually my iPod would be in here as well, but and I don't have a charger thing at the moment, so it's out of use. But I use YouTube a lot, and I have a playlist of what songs really help me cope in what situations. So I've got when I have hallucinations and intrusive thoughts, I listen to Voices by Motionless in White. Suicidal thoughts, I watch the video for Coming Down, Five Finger Death Punch, stuff like that. There's loads of them. So I've also done almost like diary entries for when I've impulse spent, when I've had borderline moments. So I'm really learning about my illness and learning about myself, and it's been really helpful, and probably the most helpful in terms of my recovery. I've really started to notice the things I'm doing that are perhaps not considered normal in society, and it's made a big difference to me adjusting behaviours and learning how to maybe consider what I could do differently that next time. Activity diary, so I've been looking at how my day is structured, my goals for 6 months, a year. I've noted a crisis that I've had. So yeah, there's just all sorts of things in here. It is literally the key to my recovery, more so than the other book, because this is personal to me and it's exactly what works for me. And I find this has been really helpful for sometimes when I don't know how to explain to my husband how I felt in a situation. I give him this book and say, read it and you can see exactly my point of view, and usually that avoids an argument as well, because then we're not screaming at each other. He's reading it and then he can respond to it as a whole, as opposed to throwing comments and kind of interrupting each other. It's really been fundamental in my recovery and I highly recommend you try this. But hopefully you guys have enjoyed seeing my self-care box and my recovery box, whatever you want to call it, grounding box, that's what some people call it. And hopefully it's given you some sort of ideas of what you could put in yours, but it is so personal. So Pinterest, that's a great place for ideas. And yeah, I just really find that this has been what has worked for me and my borderline, and really making significant improvement. So I hope you guys enjoyed today. I'd love to know what you've got in your self-care box that maybe it's something that I hadn't thought of. I'd love to know exactly what works for you. I really hope that through my own recovery I can help and contribute to other people finding this kind of happiness that I'm feeling right now. I've just been feeling great recently and I really want to kind of share that positivity, and I'm really hoping that the more videos like this I can do, the more I can maybe have a positive impact on other people, and you know, it makes me feel good to think that I could be helping others as well. But yes, if you like this video, click the like button, subscribe. I will be doing more videos about my borderline and about my recovery. I'm really hoping to document, and especially want to kind of document the moment where my life changes, and especially the day when I get told I don't have borderline anymore. So I'm really excited and aiming and working my butt off for this. So I'd love for you guys to join me in my journey. So thanks for watching and I will see you guys next time. Bye!